Current Electrifying News, Episode 8. Just a quick intro before I actually get into the news. I'm actually on board a ship now, so my recording setup is completely different to home. So I've now got my script over here. So instead of looking at the camera, I might be peering down there frequently. Okay, so first item on the news today. In Australia, Chris Bowen, the Federal Energy Minister, launched a consultation on Australia's sixth and final offshore wind development zone. Now, this is to be off the West Australian coastline, just a little bit away from me, near Bunbury, off the southwest coast. Now, it could host up to 20 gigawatts of wind production, and it's estimated that the state is going to need an extra 50 gigawatts of new wind and solar to support the electrification of transport and industry by the early 2040s. So that's about 20 years away. Another Chinese car manufacturer, Chery. Now, they recently brought into Australia the Moda 5 cars, which are internal combustion engine variants. They now plan to bring in the Moda EV. So this is going to be called the E5 by the middle of this year, 2024. It's going to have a single motor, a 0 to 100 km per hour or 62 miles an hour run in 7.3 seconds. Yeah, look, that's not too bad. And a WLTP range of 430 kilometres, 350 in the real world. More specs will be released sometime in the near future. Now, it's supposed to compete against the Atto 3, the MG ZS EV. So I'm expecting the pricing on that to be in the high 40s, low 50s. Who knows? Now, in China, BYD has launched updated versions at a lower price of its two budget sedans. They're hybrids. But the Dolphin is also being updated. In China, they're getting the bigger 61 kilowatt hour battery. I think we've already got that in Australia, so now China might be getting it. But there's a bit of a price war going on in China at the moment between the new energy vehicles, as they call them, and the battery electric vehicles, between all the different companies. They're all cutting prices to try and get a bigger share of the pie. BYD looks set to take the crown from Tesla on global deliveries of EVs this year. They were very close last year, only a couple of 100,000 behind, about 1.6 million to 1.8 million, give or take a few. But, you know, with their aggressive pricing, they're spreading through many different countries around the world. I'm pretty certain that they might well pip Tesla to the post in battery electric vehicle sales by the end of this year. They're going very well in China, and if their foreign markets pick up, then they may well do it. The CEO of Xpeng, He Xiaopeng, I think that's how you pronounce it, but don't blame me if I got it wrong. He said that they're planning on releasing 30 new electric vehicle models over the next 3 years, filling the price bracket from $20,000 US to $85,000 US, which is probably the majority of EVs. Now, he referred to this as a sea of blood. So you can see that it's getting a bit cutthroat in the EV business. So I think that also might mean that several EV manufacturers in China will go bankrupt, just like one that has halted production because it's run out of money and can't pay its workers. Hi-Fi or Hi-Fi or however you pronounce it. Yeah, more may well follow. Now, VW's already got several EVs on the market, and they recently added the ID Tura to the range, which is an estate. Now, I'm sure this is just for Europe at the moment. I don't think it's going to America. Whether it'll come to Australia or not, your guess is as good as mine at the moment. Now, this is an electric mid-sized estate. The ID Tura Pro S comes with an 86 kilowatt hour battery and supposedly provides 685 kilometres of range WLTP. Look, 550 kilometres real world, that's pretty reasonable. It will have 200 kilowatt fast DC charging, which is very good. Both the models that they're bringing out will have rear-wheel drive only and a 210 kilowatt motor. It's also going to come with a smaller battery, around 77 kilowatt hours. Obviously, that'll give it a slightly reduced range, but it will be cheaper. Once again, the automotive industry is trying to protect itself, and it's putting pressure on the United States Environmental Protection Agency, or EPA, to ease its emissions targets. Major US manufacturers are urging Washington to slow down the pace of electrification as the technology is too expensive. It wouldn't be expensive if they all pulled their finger out. It would soon come down because of economies of scale. But the Alliance for Automotive Innovation, AAI, which is a trade group, GM, Ford, Stellantis, Toyota, VW, yeah, the usual culprits, they've called on the EPA proposal. It's neither reasonable nor achievable in 2023. Personally, I think they're a bunch of bozos running scared because they can't keep up with Tesla. I do believe in America now, a Tesla Model 3 with the bonuses that you can get, it's now cheaper to buy than a Toyota Camry. Tesla looks set to start its Giga factory in Mexico next month in March, according to the governor of Nuevo Leon, Samuel Garcia. Tesla has all the necessary clearances and permits, and it's had them since about October last year. But Elon Musk has always intimated that Tesla was in no particular hurry. And I've got a feeling that this governor is just trying to push things along a little bit faster by announcing these sorts of things. What do you think? A company called Ibut Tech, which is an LFP battery specialist, they're increasing their work on sodium-ion batteries. Now, that we've already got some EVs in China, the smaller ones, that have already got sodium-ion batteries. But this German company has quickly made a name for itself in the LFP arena, and it's now looking into sodium-ion batteries. Now, whilst sodium-ion batteries are cheaper to produce than the LFPs, and the LFPs are cheaper than the NMCs and so on, they do have a lower energy density. But they will be great for cheaper, lower range EVs and for stationary storage. So here's hoping sodium-ion batteries will come along because they're also safer. Now, as you know, I'm currently travelling in India, although I'm on board a ship at the moment and we're heading towards Goa in a short while. By the time you read this, I'll probably be out of India. But I've got some interesting things that I found out. Number one, many electric buses and quite a lot of EVs now. All buses new when the old, well, they have what's called CNG, compressed natural gas buses, not diesel. When they break down and aren't repairable, they have to replace it with an electric bus. So they're coming along. I saw a lot in Mumbai yesterday. But I've also seen Ioniq 5, Mercedes EQB, Volvo Z, C40 Recharge, amongst many. So things are actually looking up. And there's also quite a lot of EV charges. Now, when I got a lift down to the cruise terminal here from the hotel yesterday, we got it in a BYD E6 taxi. Lovely car, very spacious. Pity we can't get more of those in Australia. They would go great, I reckon. Now, the driver there was telling me that all new buildings, like apartments, government buildings and so on, must have, it's mandated, EV chargers in the car parks. Australia, take a lesson. I mean, India, they're miles ahead of us. It's just brilliant. Now, Tata is making a lot of EVs. Mahindra is the other big manufacturer here. But it's now got a contract with VW for their MEB components. Now, this supply contract is over many years, and it's got a total volume of 50 gigawatt hours. That should make quite a few cars. Look, India is making incredible strides. They're trying to become greener and cleaner, and it's definitely changed since my last visit here. And I think they're doing very well, and Australia could probably learn from them. Well, thanks very much for watching. If you could please do me a big favour and click that like and subscribe buttons below. It does help the channel and the algorithm, so thanks very much. Now, that costs you nothing, but if you would like to help me financially, then there's links in the description below to Ko-fi and Patreon. And as I start to get a few more of those, we're going to start having a few interesting extras for those people. There's also links down there for my Tesla referral, stake, etc. Just have a look, see if anything interests you. Over the next few days, I plan to get another interview edited and published. I'm hoping in Australia there's a new insurance company called Cobra Insurance. They're only doing EVs. They're doing it on a per kilometre basis. Price-wise, they are not going to be the cheapest, but then also not going to be the most expensive. And it looks very interesting. So I might get that one out next. So wait and see. And I'll see you all very soon.